Grind don't stop. 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 Grind don't stop.
Hello! Welcome back to Chewed Gum. Today is February 17th, and I'm Alyssa, and I'm so happy we have Promise back here again.
It's my last day for a while. In case you guys didn't figure it out, I have been in the States for the last few weeks, but I wasn't saying anything because
Did I freeze or did
No.
she?
Nope, that was her.
okay,
Okay.
great. Perfect time for me to cut out. I was like, am I frozen? Where did I cut out? What was I saying?
You were saying that you were in the States, but you didn't say anything because people are fucking freaks.
For my own peace of mind, I just wanted to not think that people knew that I was here. So, anyways, now you guys know because I'm going to be gone by the time most people see this video. So, but I'm so sad that this will be like our last episode for a while.
Yeah.
Alyssa and I have to find ways to do more things together
Yeah.
this summer. We'll think of something because it's fun.
It is really fun.
Doing the things together.
This is also like a very unique corner of the internet, and I think doing that, being in this very unique corner already, it's nice to just like have friends. What was- Someone in the what's it called? In the chat said Alyssa confirmed witch. What does that mean? I'm so good.
I don't know, but I agree if it's a compliment.
Love. Anyways, yeah, this is such like a weird corner of the internet, so it's nice to have people who like understand what that experience is like. And,
Yeah.
It's nice to also have someone who's like a woman too, because it is a different people are really scary and weird to women on the internet.
Yes, it's very true. I love working with all the guys on the line. It's great. But sometimes I'm like working with not a man is when I feel I'm like, okay, like there's still this thing that I feel safer and
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So that too. I think all the things, all the reasons I just love getting to be on Chewed Gum. I'm so
Mhm.
sad that I'm not here all the time hanging out with you, but we will make the most of it tonight. I would say we have a fun episode in store, but we have no idea because we have no idea what kind of calls we're going to get. What kind of
Yes.
calls do you want? We were saying like we'd love if somebody wants to call in and tell us that virginity is a thing or that it matters in the form of a social construct. Let us
Yeah.
know.
I would love that. I also would love, we don't get enough like opposition calls here. And if we do, and I know that part of that is like, I just had a rant last week about how if you want shows where people are going to be yelling at people who called, then this is probably not the show for you. But here I am being like, I want someone to call in and disagree with us. But yeah, where's the whole state of New Jersey tonight? Y'all love to call in and yell at me.
Is that what they do? I also, I think it was you and I talked to Cortez, right? Like a couple weeks ago. And then
Yes.
Forrest, when I was on with Forrest, we talked to Cortez and I don't know. I know that there are people that watch all of these episodes and are like, I could do that call. I could debate that so much better.
Mhm.
Tonight is your night to call. Debate it better. Also, I know that there were some people that were, oh, when Forrest, when we did the show on Sunday, we decided to let somebody go because it like the show was over and we were so tired and like we had already been talking to them for 30 minutes and they wanted to choose a new thing to talk about. And I said, call next Tuesday,
Right.
and we'll chat. So if that person is listening, I don't even remember what it was about. You accused me of running away from you. I will put you at the top of the list if you call in because I assure you the running will be you if you never call back when I'm on. So,
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get some fun and interesting people who call in today. If this is your first time here, this is a show about rejecting purity culture, challenging misogyny, and the effects of religious trauma on women and others, not just women, but um and as a reminder, super chats of $5 or more will be read at the end of the show.
yay.
Yay. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, actually, you're a perfect person to ask this question and chat. If you have any thoughts, please put them in the chat as well. I want to make a YouTube video that's like 5 myths that purity culture taught you about sex, but I don't know all of the myths. Like I know some of them for sure. Like I know about like virginity, the hymen, like that sort of stuff. But I'm curious if there are any that you remember about sex or
Yeah.
sexuality or that kind of stuff that are like insane.
I mean, I think one of the main ones was I would in some forms I was told like depending on what I was reading or who I was hearing from, I was told like that sex is primarily pleasurable for men and that's it.
Mm. Hmm.
And uh sometimes I was straight up told that sex is not pleasurable for women and it's not supposed to be. This is a man's thing. So the anything surrounding
Wow.
that was a big thing. Um, yeah, that was wild to think about. And you can
That's
imagine what that does to somebody and like what it sets you up for. It's not
yeah.
good.
Right,
Um,
exactly. Like that
and
makes all of the women in such an unsafe
oh yeah,
situation. Holy crap.
unsafe. And even if it's safe, really boring situation at best.
Boring.
Like that's the best case scenario. And just in general, just like the downplaying of women's pleasure being something that matters, it was always looked at as like almost like that shouldn't be a thing. And there were so many other ways I feel like evangelicalism made anything that made a woman happy seem like a childish thing so that you were supposed to outgrow it. Like it's about pleasing men, basically,
Yeah. Yeah.
and denying yourself and all of that. So obviously that ties into sex too. But I think that's a great prompt for a super chat too. Like if there was any kind of even if you went to public school, I've heard so many people like the sex ed that we have had is not comprehensive most of the time. Some people got
Hmm.
good sex ed, but I don't feel like that's just uh, I feel like I've talked to a lot of people that didn't grow up like me that also experienced a lot of myths around sex. So maybe you have some like funny thing that you believed for a long time that nobody talked to you about, and I think that would
Well,
be cool.
yeah, I think even like I remember when I was a Girl Scout, they did the
You
whole
were a
thing.
Girl Scout,
Oh, honey, for too long. Like when I think
Alyssa.
back on it, I was
I
like,
just bought so many Girl Scout cookies, by the way.
oh, they're the best. Um, I was a Girl Scout for quite a while. Um, and and I remember in Girl Scouts, my troop leaders, which like, no hard feelings on them. They were teaching the best they could with the tools that they had, but they did the thing of like the tape on your arm situation where like they put it on your arm and then they like rip it off and then they put it on another person's arm and they put it on another person's arm and then they say like, see, by the time you get to
No,
your
like chewed
husband,
gum.
yes, the tape is already used, the gum is already chewed, and you know,
That is so disturbing.
I know.
I hate
I
that so
know.
much.
Could you imagine? I wish that I had like the
Like if I
audacity
was
to
a
just
parent there and I heard,
Mhm.
I would goodbye.
I need to at some point recreate one of my videos that like perpetually gets views, which was me trying to understand how um one a woman sleeping with one man 50 times makes her, or no, a woman sleeping with 50 different men makes her, I used the cat emoji, loose. But the same woman sleeping with the same man 50 times does not. And that video, I get every single day comments on that video still, and that's from like the summertime. And I should remake it because,
Please. I
yeah,
want to repost that.
it's crazy, and people are so the like inanimate objects that women are being compared to in that little comment section is just wild. Oh, someone
That's
said
so depressing.
I was taught that condoms are less than 70% effective in public school. That's crazy. Well, so I
Yikes.
actually wonder, and we were talking about this a little bit on the podcast today. I don't even know how this came up, but a lot of the time, the number that you hear about like the effectiveness of a birth control method is based on if it is used 100% correctly. And like a lot of the time it's not. So it is possible that whatever number your teacher was referencing was based on like the average user. It might be less than 70%. I don't think it is. But I guess it depends on like what year. I don't know.
Man.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great super chat prompt. Also, if you don't have something like that to share, I was thinking today, so I'm going back to Finland tomorrow, and guys, this is hilarious. Now I can like talk all about this. I've been like very quiet on social media. Also, I got sick for the first time in like really sick, like a fever and everything for the first time in like 3 years, which go
Wow.
figure, I come back here and that's when I'm like,
Right. Oh,
really,
sorry. I'm
truly.
posting our link.
No,
Wait,
good.
but did you get the flu?
I don't know what it was. It only lasted a couple days, so I think I'm okay now. I mean, I don't know if you can
Okay.
still hear. I'm like not great, but anyways, so I dealt with that, but I came here with just a backpack because we already have like a house full of stuff here. So
Yeah.
I didn't need to pack, but I'm going back with like this massive bag, and half of it is stuff from my cousins, Sana and Kata. Well, it's Yuka's
Mm,
cousins, but they're mine now. So,
yeah.
so his cousin Sana and her wife, Kata. And so Kata's really into makeup and all of that. And I was like, what else should I bring? And they were like, would you bring some Twinkies? We've never tried Twinkies. And I was like, this is crazy to think about that that's what you want me to bring back. And then what else was
Twinkies.
it? There were some other things that I'm sure you can get anything in Finland
Hmm.
at this point. It's just a matter of how convenient it would be. But I'm also
Yeah.
taking fruit by the foot, fruit gushers, um,
Wow.
Lucky Charms. They asked me to bring Lucky Charms.
Hmm.
So stuff like that. So I would love to hear like from you guys what you would take if you or what you maybe have if you visited another country that to you like kind of those are some things from my childhood that are like I'm like these are some fun little treats that they don't have over here that like you have to oh and Cheese Whiz. I brought a can of Cheese Whiz,
Oh
which is
God.
disgusting.
I can't even imagine the last time. Like, when would I have had Cheese Whiz last? But now I feel like I kind of want to buy it just to see if it's everything I remember it is. And
That's
you know
I'm
what?
I'm excited to taste it for the first time in years, but
I want to be the kind of person to be like, I want to try it to see if it's as gross as I think it is. But the real thing that I want to say is, I want to try it again to see if it's as delicious as I remember it being. Sorry.
honestly. I used to eat it on Triscuits. Yes,
My favorite cracker.
I knew I loved you. And that was just one of my favorite. I was like, how can I make this food that's marketed as being healthy? I guess
Yes.
it's fine. It's like fiber or whatever.
Yeah.
How can I ruin it?
How can I
And
ruin
that's
it?
with a can of cheese. So
Yeah. Yeah.
also
I
the
get that.
first thing I got, literally the day that we arrived here, I got a Lunchable,
Oh, which one?
the pizza one, and the nacho one. I got two Lunchables, let's be honest. I had those. What else? Oh, chips and
Oh,
salsa. We've gone out for Mexican like every day since we got here
mm.
for chips and salsa and queso. So,
My
anyways,
best friend is watching, and the way that I found out she's watching is she just texted me and she said Cheese Whiz is top tier, and she's coming to visit, and she said, "Wait till I'm there to try it with you."
That's
I'm
amazing.
excited.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, all that to say, super chat prompt, share what kind of weird American snack
Hmm.
thing, or it could be like a thing. Like there's different makeup items that we can't get in Finland that I'm taking back, like I said, too. Got the from like
Yeah.
American owned. But yeah, so that's my suitcase now. It's just full
Love.
of that stuff. I see we've got a couple of calls in already, but just a reminder that you can call 720-619-2288 if you are a theist. If you believe that a God exists, you will get priority. If you believe that women shouldn't have the right to vote, you will get priority. If you believe that abortion should be illegal, you will get to the top here. And what else? If you think that virginity is a biological thing and that it matters at all, then you'll probably get to the very top. So
Hmm.
give us a call. Alyssa, do you want to take one of these so far while we're waiting on some of those others?
Yeah, I actually am curious about the 7-3 call because that's like a conversation that we don't typically have, and I'm curious, honestly,
Yeah.
what your answer is going to be. And
Totally. I'd love that.
I'd also like the answer to this question. Okay, I'm going to pull in Lindsay. Hello, Lindsay.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. When you were talking about the snacks from your childhood, I was like, yeah, I never really got into Gushers or Fruit by the Foot. I remember
Mhm.
having the Lunchables, though, the pizza one. That was
Mm,
pretty good. I never had
pizza ones are
Cheese
so
Whiz
good.
because, at least growing up, I was like, that's cheese food product, so I didn't have that anyway.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
You
so
honest,
good.
you
was
you didn't miss
born
much
in
at all.
1986, so yeah. Anyway,
We're not that far. I'm 91, so
oh,
but you
cool.
saved yourself
Um,
from the cheese whiz.
yeah,
What's your
yeah.
question for us
So,
today, Lindsay?
say again?
What's your question for us today?
Oh, sure. I was curious. I'm newly agnostic. So I'm curious how to build up your critical thinking skills. And if it's the same as being skeptical, I think my brain has kind of like thought those meant the same thing. So,
I would say skepticism is not the same thing as critical thinking. I would say that skepticism requires critical thinking. Um, and, a great way to boost your critical thinking skills is just to ask so many questions, ask all the questions. But I also think just some
Mhm.
practical advice would be get a book on logical fallacies. And
mhm,
I'll give a plug for my book. When my book comes out, I spend time actually talking about just a few logical fallacies because I think once you get those, then you start noticing errors in your own arguments. At least, hopefully, you do if you're being really honest, and things that you believe. And you start, which it sounds like you've already been doing that. Like you start examining, and you're like, wait, is that a good reason to believe that? That's one of my favorite
right,
questions. Is that a
exactly.
good reason to hold this opinion? Is that a good, like, if you have a thought, do I have a good reason for that thought? Like, or for that
Mhm,
opinion or whatever it is. So a book on logical fallacies. There's one that I really love. I think you can get it on Amazon, and it's the something about like the logical fallacies as monsters. I'm sure if you type in logical fallacies
Oh.
monsters, it's such a good book.
yeah.
It's really cute, and the logical fallacies are different monsters. But the other thing
Mhm,
that you can do is work on steel manning different arguments. So what that means is like if Alyssa says something that I totally disagree with, it means I'm going to try to understand her argument so well that I could probably argue it better than her. At least that's the goal, you know?
Mm.
So for like
okay.
to me, that's what makes so many of us on the line good at what we do is because we used to hold those opinions. Like I used to think that abortion should be banned. So I know a lot of
Mhm,
those positions and why. But we have to remember to do that for things that we don't have that experience with. So if somebody says, like, I think that um, orange juice is the best breakfast drink, then I need to figure out all the reasons why they think that and try to be able to make their argument for them. That's being really honest in a conversation. And that will help you with your own opinions better because you'll start thinking through all the little things instead of just the baseline thing. But I think Alyssa might have some good
yeah.
answers for this too because I feel like you're very good at this.
Well, I wanted you to answer that question because I think that your critical thinking skills are chef's kiss, and also
Oh,
because I've
thank you.
read your book and I knew, and I read Promise's book already, and so I know that she also talks about this whole process, especially when you're deconstructing the way that you kind of like start to transition into that line of thinking instead of what you might have
Mhm.
grown up with. So I think when her book comes out, it'll be really helpful for you. Um, and the other thing that I would say is along the lines of what Promise was saying, when people are doing research, the the best kind of research that people do, and really like the research that is most valued, is when the researcher is trying to prove the theory that they have wrong. So they're not
Mhm.
trying to take the theory that they have and find every single way that it's right. They're trying very hard to see if there is cracks in what they are believing to be true. And
Mhm.
so even like taking that approach too, which is really what Promise was describing, like, is this a good reason to believe the thing that I believe? And continuing to ask the questions and boil down on like what the why is all the time is really, really helpful.
Okay.
And I feel like for me, what has been the biggest part of building my critical thinking skills is removing the emotional attachment to being right. Because
Yeah.
uh depending on how you grew up,
It's really good.
being right is like a big anchor in like your ego and who you are. I mean, like that's how it was for I'll speak for myself. Like that's like we just had like
Right.
a little bit of a defensive household. um so being right was like sort of a putting your stake in the ground and a moment for a lot of us. And so it felt very emotionally charged when a lot of the times the stuff that we're talking about, whether it comes to religion or it comes to because like it's about politics or whatever, there's not you're not looking for evidence to support your theory. You're looking for the evidence that's true, the thing that's real. And so
Okay.
that is not emotionally charged. It has nothing to do with you actually at all. It is completely an objective truth. That's what you're looking for. So I
Mhm.
think any way that you can, if you ever feel those moments where you are feeling um like a buildup of resentment. I guess that's the only word I can really think of around whatever conversation you're having because you're feeling like shit, I might be wrong about this. Know that it's okay to be like, I don't know if I'm right or wrong about this. And actually, it has nothing to do with you because everyone is learning every single day. And the emotional attachment will make it to being right, will make it so much harder to grow and learn and change and all of the stuff that's good.
Okay. So with that, my question would be, for example, the right politically usually goes ahead and cuts funding for things like food stamps and disability rights and things like that. Because I'm disabled myself, how and it's like you're talking about me, how do I and I don't necessarily talk about it every day, but it's more of like the government's not funded, like we should be funding this still, what the heck.
Mhm.
So how do I navigate that? And do I just like explain it with facts, or I don't know. It seems
I think if you feel like, first of all, if it feels too close to home and too emotional, you don't have to defend that position to other people. Now, if you're wanting to because you're trying to help change their mind and you feel up to it, I think that's great. And I think it's totally fair to bring in your own perspective as a like point of reflection for them. Like, hey, I'm a person, so here's how the facts impact me, and here's what the
mhm.
facts can do for somebody like me. So I don't ever rely just on, personal testimony. If the facts aren't, helping, then then you've got a fallacy going on. Um, but I think it is excellent to, like, we do here all the time where we talk about, like, I share my story and I can share how this is not just my little selfish opinion because it would make me happier. It's like, no, 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 here's how it works. And I'm an
Right.
example. Like I am one person out of a ton that this impacts, and this is how, and now I'm humanizing it for you.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. It seems like the right is, I guess, more vocally dehumanizing more people, which maybe it has always been, but it's kind of like taken off the mask now, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
current dictators got to dictate. So I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
so
know.
sorry.
Anyway.
It's hard to hear that stuff. And keep in mind that you're also probably, especially if it's online, you're hearing from the most extreme perspectives. I'm hearing, especially in real life, a lot of people that are starting to change their mind and can't,
Yeah,
like, they
exactly.
refuse to dehumanize. And that's the good news. The bad news is we're going to hear a lot
Mhm.
of the doubling down where you're like, "Oh my God, you actually, like, I thought maybe you were just like indoctrinated, or maybe you just were led astray and you're just like disagreeing with how we get there, but oh, you actually like maybe have some evil tendencies happening." But that is
Yeah,
still
exactly.
what we're hearing primarily, I think, from the loudest people, not from the majority of people. So keep that in
Right.
mind.
And
Alyssa
yeah,
was
that's
going to
what I
say
have
something
to.
and I totally interrupted her.
Yeah,
I'm so
that's what I
sorry.
have to remember too. I think I remember reading something that Sir Six said about he's a minority within a minority, but it's just very loud. I'm like, maybe I'll embroider that as a quote. Keep it up somewhere.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
great. I love embroidery
Yeah.
art too. I wish I had the
Oh, thank you.
patience. That's super cool.
Yeah, I
You'll
do
have to,
hand
if you
embroidery, so I'm like, it helps.
Oh,
You know, if
you'll
you
have
stab
to
something 1,000 times, it's nice.
that does
So,
sound like really therapeutic. You'll have to send us a picture sometime. We can do a show and tell.
yeah, I was actually thinking of sending little gifts to you guys, like the line in
Oh, that
general.
is so
We've got
sweet. That's
got a
so
couple
cool.
quotes interested,
That's
so
so
you've got
nice.
your
I
PO
love
box.
that.
So
Oh my
I
God, that's
love
anyway,
that so much.
so
also
nice.
if anyone calls you a Jezebel, just remember it's a type of butterfly.
It is?
It is, yeah.
That is
Wow.
really cool.
Yep.
I love that.
There's also one called Magdalena alpine, which is a black butterfly found in the Rocky Mountains.
Wow. Oh, I
So, yeah.
love that. That's so nice to know because people be saying
Yeah. So,
crazy shit all the time. So I appreciate that.
exactly. Just remember it's a butterfly. Yep.
Yeah,
So
that's
you can look
so
it up later, but
nice.
yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for
I
sharing
learned
that
it
with
from
us.
I think it was like an alphabet butterfly book from the children's section. I
Mhm.
borrowed from the library at one time. I'm like, this is great.
I love
So,
that.
yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yep.
Amazing.
Thank you for what? What am I saying? I need to drink more coffee. Jeez. Thank you so much for calling, Lindsay. And
You're
call back
welcome.
anytime. We'll talk to you
Yeah,
soon.
and good luck to you, Promise, in Finland. I hope it goes well
Thanks
for
so
you.
much. Thanks, Lindsay.
All right.
Have a
Goodbye.
great evening. Bye.
Bye. Okay, you want to know something crazy about Lindsay? She has called before as a theist.
Aw, way to go, Lindsay.
Yeah, so like
Look at those critical thinking skills happening. You're
right?
changing your mind about some pretty major things.
I know. I didn't realize until the chat was saying, "Oh, I remember Lindsay," and then I looked in like our little call-in studio and I see that she called the last time she called. She was calling as a theist, which is amazing. It's so
It's incredible.
wild.
Also, your voice sounds so much more clear. Is it just because you got this new handy mic stand or something?
You know what I think it is? I think the mic stand helps the microphone be closer to my face, and that makes a difference.
That's why. I love it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Love it, love it. Oh, real quick. There was somebody in the chat. I don't know if they're still watching, and they were talking about how they said something about, oh, the excuses promiscuous women will make these days. My mother would roll over in her grave. Please call. Let's have a
Please call in.
conversation. Also, do you like my mug?
Oh my God, it's my mug. Oh, I
It says,
love
I guess
it.
it's backwards. It says, I love promiscuous women. So
I loved that mug. I was so sad that more
a
people didn't buy that
really,
mug.
a really
It's a
great
cute
mug.
mug.
I feel
Although,
like, can you make a new one now? Because it's not out anymore, right?
well, we did our mug brawl last year, and I had one that looked like a little like certification thing, and it
Oh, cute.
said big brain certified hottie, which I thought was really cute.
I love that.
But I will say, for what it's worth, I loved Jimmy's mug. His mug was
It was unfortunately really great.
insane. So when I saw his, I was like, damn. And you know what? That deserves the win because that was crazy. So
I
if you
agree.
want to see Jimmy's design, it is still in, I believe it's still in line merch, but I don't know if it's still in the mug, but you can get it, I think, that design on other things. You can go to linemerch.com and you can get mugs, you can get t-shirts, you can get all different kinds of stuff to support this show and the other shows on the line. You can also go to patreon.com/calltheline and you can get bonus content, which is really fun. There's some tiers where you have access to a Discord of other line users. And it's a good time. So go to the Patreon, and that going to the Patreon also supports not only this show but all the other shows on the line. So
Do
that's it.
it.
Go there.
Love it.
Um,
Before we take our next caller, sorry, I'm just taking advantage of hanging out with you. So now we're just hanging out. We're just chatting.
I
But I
love it.
have to share something with the class. Also, I feel like I'm looking in the chat and I'm like, my old friends that I used to hang out with every Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I'm just sharing with the class. This is literally like show and tell. Literally, there's no point to me sharing this. It's not relevant at all. I just got a Venmo request, so that's why I remembered this.
Yeah.
Um, my sisters, one of the main reasons I was here is one of my sisters is pregnant. And so I was in town for her baby shower. And we have nephews, but she's having the first little girl in the family.
Mhm.
And all of us girls had American Girl dolls growing up.
Oh
Did you
God.
have an American Girl doll?
Did I? I don't remember if I ever actually got one because they were expensive. And I remember my
Yes.
parents being like, they're really pricey. I don't know. But I remember I was obsessed with the um, the American Girl doll store in New York City.
Yes.
I love like a tiny bed, a tiny
Yes.
kitchen set.
All
Like
the
I
things.
love that. I love
Well,
that.
we took my sister to pick out. This is how crazy we're like, we have an excuse to go buy another doll. So we went to get it as a gift for her future child who may not even like dolls at all, which is fine because the rest of us will then play with the doll. But we all went to the American Girl doll store and like had the best time looking at all of them and like walking around. We're like, which one is it going to be? And they're so cute. And I hope somebody doesn't tell me something in the comments about how this is like maybe a terrible company. From what I've seen, it's not. Like they're always posting like really like more edgy
Really?
yeah, they posted where I was like, okay, yeah. And they're always like celebrating immigrants. A bunch of the dolls are immigrants. Well,
Yeah.
obviously they're American girls, so like, welcome to America. We're immigrants.
Right.
But anyways, I thought it was a really cute girly moment, so I had to share it with the two
Which
gum
doll did
family.
you get?
Okay, so this part I had to practice letting go of my eldest sister control things because I really wanted her to get one of the originals.
Yes.
And so my sister was like, I want to get her one that we don't all have though. So she
Okay.
got Rebecca, which is a newer one. She's from 1914. She's a Russian
Okay.
immigrant.
Okay.
And she wants to be an actress.
Okay. I'm gonna look her
And
up.
that's the whole story. She thinks that she thinks that she looks the most like if her and her husband reproduce. So I think we were
Got
being
it.
crazy girly about all of this is what was happening. It was truly an excuse for us to buy a doll.
Yeah.
And then we also called my dad. We're like, because we had offered to pay for it for my sister as a gift. And then we were like, this is going to be a lot. So we called my
Yeah.
dad. We're like, Dad, do you want to help buy? And then we got him to pay for it. So,
Love.
anyways, it was a great like sisterhood moment that I had to share. And I wanted to
Mm,
know if you had one, but maybe I have to go look at the chat.
I
Maybe some people in the chat had an American Girl doll.
Yeah, I kind of remember. I think by the time my parents caved, I think my sister Danielle probably got one, but which is very very much the dynamic of my family where I would ask for something and my parents would be like, that's too expensive. We're not doing that. And then like 4 years later, my sister gets it because she was so annoying and wouldn't let anything go. So she probably had one.
Love
um,
it.
yeah. But I'm so jealous. I love the American Girl doll store. Have you ever gone to the one in New York City?
Yes, we all went there together when we were little. We couldn't
Best.
buy anything, but we just like walked around looking. And what's
It's the
really
best.
funny is my computer is giving me like a million alerts all of a sudden. My mom didn't want to spend money on like all the stuff, so she would have the clothes. I guess it was cheaper to literally have them made by somebody than to buy the
Wow.
actual. So we would get like the color wouldn't quite be right on the
Yeah.
dresses, and like the pattern wouldn't quite be exact, which was really
Yeah.
funny.
Oh, I
Did
love
you
that.
see this? We've got a deist caller.
Ooh, interesting.
Hmm.
Okay.
This call will go one way or another, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Should we pull in Tim? All right. Let's see. Hi, Tim.
Hi, good evening.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
We're doing all right.
Did
We're
you
doing
have
all right.
a good Valentine's Day?
You know, my fiance was out of town, so I'm celebrating Valentine's Day tomorrow. Um,
Well,
yeah. What about you?
I did. I had a great one.
Great. Happy to hear it. Okay, so what did you want to talk about today?
So, a couple weeks ago, you took a call for me. We had a nice conversation, I guess, about abortion. I guess I didn't think about that kind of when I said it. Phrased a little funny, but anyway, um, Cortez had spoken to you um, before me, and you had gone on somewhat of a rant about how violent men are and how men victimize women. But I've
Do you
seen
mean when
some
we shared
statistics, and
statistics about domestic violence against women?
yeah, well, it was kind of shocking to me. Oh, it was specifically domestic violence. I'm not sure. I think you just said
I
crime,
don't
but I don't
remember.
know. But
I've had multiple calls recently on the topic, but yeah, but what's your take on today? What did you want to talk about today?
Tim, also, if you don't
well,
mind, move your wherever the
sure.
microphone is, like an inch from your face, because when it's too close, it makes this like clippy
So
sound. But I'm sorry to interrupt. Continue.
so, um, you had went into some statistics, I think, about men and how they're violent, and I just found this kind of shocking because I hear people on the right wing make similar arguments about race. So to hear you say that kind of stuff was kind of shocking to me.
But
But
Tim, I
I
got to stop
believe
you for
that
just a second. So
no,
I had to say
I
this,
don't
Tim,
deny
I
that men
have to
can be
stop you
violent
for
towards
just
women.
1 second.
However, women
Tim,
are often violent towards
Tim,
men, and the stats show.
I don't know if Tim can't hear me, but I'm going to mute him. Can everybody else hear me?
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Tim, I'm going to pause you for a second. Instead of you saying, I don't know, I don't remember our call with you, to be honest, and I have no idea what we said. I, I, I would never make the statement that like men are just violent. So this is not how we need to have this conversation. I would rather start the conversation fresh, where you tell me your position on something, and then I can tell you if I disagree or not. So
Sure.
I'm going to unmute you now.
So
Tim, can you hear me? Tim, are you listening to me talking?
sure, I'm listening to you. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Did you
my
hear what I just
position is,
said?
yeah, I'm sorry I went into that, but that was just me trying
Totally fine.
to,
Totally fine. But I need you to
yeah.
slow down the conversation because you keep interrupting and there's a delay. So we just have to like give a beat in between because I'm not clear if you've heard me or not, if you're already talking when I unmute you. So, anyways, great. Your position. Would love to hear your position. And then we can go from there. And then we'll see. Maybe we agree on something and maybe we don't. But this is how we find out.
So my position is that the justice system is biased towards, against men in domestic violence situations.
Which kind of domestic
And
violence?
that,
Where violence is being committed against them, or when they're accused of committing violence against somebody else?
I believe both ways, but however, there's a lot. Most domestic violence, I believe, is mutual, and in those situations, men are much more likely to be arrested than women.
Okay. First, I want to let Alyssa respond too, but I just want to say we're going to agree with you about a lot of biases against men because we're feminists, and like that's part of why we're feminists is because we think that there's a lot of biases. For example, like men not being believed when they describe abuse because men are told to toughen up and to just take it and all of that, and that's not right. We also have situations where cops come in, and I agree that the system here is not, they're not doing a good job in general. I think some places are doing a better job than others, and that's where training comes in hand. But what happens, what's supposed to happen, is that cops are supposed to show up, they're supposed to hear the stories, and they're supposed to determine who the aggressor was in the situation and who was, actually harming somebody else. Are you saying that you think the cops are not, like, where do you think this mess up is happening, and what is your evidence that that's true?
So, well, first of all, there's survey statistics about which race or sorry, which sex is more likely to commit violence, and women have a higher rate as reported by men and women.
Do
So
you do you have where are you seeing that? I'm just curious. I want to see it as well.
Hold on, let me pull up my stats 1 second.
Because another thing to consider is when you're looking at surveys of physical aggression, even if the report is similar, a large difference is in that women are more likely to experience really serious injuries. They're more likely to experience sexual violence, stalking, and homicide from intimate partners. And that information, it's survey information is also kind of tricky, and I don't know if that's what you have. Like, I'll wait to see what you have. Survey information is a little tricky because it's all self-reporting. When you're looking at police reports, hospital records, people in shelters, homicide statistics, you see that the rate of domestic violence is very heavily affecting women more so than men.
Okay, this is from a study by Rakovich-Feltzer, and it was found that in no injury situations, around 50% of men were arrested, and only 12% of women.
Okay, so it's a no injury situation. That's interesting. I don't really know. I guess the concern is, and I feel like maybe this is where the conversation happened to like sort of evolve into the last time, if I'm remembering correctly. There is a difference in the physical capability of a man, most men as compared to most women. So if like the likelihood of a man being able to hurt a woman is higher, it makes more sense to take their violent attempt more seriously. That being said, I do agree that domestic violence against men is underreported and not taken as seriously.
Right. We know that
but
that's true.
I also, Tim, I think it's like it's an interesting thing, and someone in the chat said this, and I kind of like, this is sort of where I fall with this. It sort of feels not grounded in reality to believe that men are just as violent as women. Like, that is such a crazy take to have. Like, we could pick it apart if you want to, but even like in a broad way, it just feels so Like how do you get do you believe that to be true? I don't want to be like putting words in your mouth. Do you believe that to be true, that women are just as violent as men are?
Well, I've known situations where there was a large man, and his girlfriend would, slap him and punch him, but he was just so much larger than her that even when cops came, he was the one who was arrested. So I've known situations, and it seems and to get to your point, like, that's not taken seriously when the man is much larger, and it doesn't seem like the woman can
Here's
really
where I'm gonna
do a serious
agree.
injury. But it's
Right. Here's where I'll agree and disagree with you. So do you know, I was just looking it up. So there is a policy called the primary aggressor policy, where officers are trained. They have to, in a situation, determine there has to be a dominant aggressor. And so they are taught to use things like visible injury on another person, physical size of the different aggressors, like who, because they weren't there. So first of all, I also want to clear something up. There is no such thing as mutual abuse. That's not like, that is not, there are people that are defending themselves. There's generally an aggressor in those situations. And we have something called reactive abuse that can occur. But this whole idea that, oh, they're just like beating up on each other, that is so rare that it's like not even worth talking about. But I will agree with you. If a larger man is being attacked or like abused emotionally, physically, in any form by somebody else, I don't think that that's right, and I don't think that is fair. Unfortunately, the law is put in which is where it's like, hey, maybe you should go into law reform. If you have good ideas as to how to handle this, I think that's great. But they show up and you have a human trying to interpret a situation involving other humans and figure out, number one, like who's at risk of being harmed. I'm pretty sure in most situations they're supposed to just separate people if they don't see, if they think that that's going to help. It's at their discretion. So maybe we agree that cops need better training, and that social services and all of those different services, they need help helping other people. Also, when people like have food, when they have rent, when they have all the things that they need, we see this happening less and less and less, which is another reason why I'm a leftist. But I'm not going to disagree with you that if somebody else is being harmed by someone else, it's not fair if someone doesn't, hold the other person accountable or whatever needs to happen there. It's just that that's not happening at the rate I think you're implying it is. I don't know if you saw this very famous case of what was it, Brian Landry and Gabby Petito.
Gabby, yeah.
And this officer, like, pulls up and basically they blame her for all of it. And instead of like arresting him, they end up separating them. They almost arrest her, right? It's on camera. And she's clearly an abuse victim. Like, you see this playing out and you're like, how was this officer not trained to recognize this? And then he ended up killing her. What was it? A day or two later? He I think strangles her to death or something like that. So I guess I'm still just not clear on your position. And this is what I'm concerned about, Tim, based off of you describing your last call. Are you just like, do you just consider yourself like a men's activist and you're trying to find contrarian positions about men to like bring to feminist attention? Or are these things that you're truly passionate about and you care about and you have really good reason to believe them?
Well, I have faced abuse at the hands of a woman. And abuse is usually there comes to be some back and forth. There at some point when you're abused for someone so long, there's mutual back and forth. And I can sympathize with men, and I've seen a family member be abused by a woman as well, and it was not taken seriously. And so, that gets to my, it affects me personally. And also, I've seen men deal with the family court system as well. And I have sympathy for and empathy for those men. And when you said those,
You
Sorry.
like, are you just like a man scorned and all you have is like your anecdotal positions, or is this like something that you really like have evidence for and you're like out there trying to make a difference in the world and you have good reasons for it? Because like when you keep saying mutual abuse, that's a huge red flag to me that,
Yeah.
makes me really concerned for your other partner because yes, people can both commit
It,
violence against each
I'm
other,
not saying
people
that
and
it's
can
not.
both
Sorry.
uh
Mhm.
but like but they're
That is from a.
as somebody who's been in abusive relationships and
Okay.
understands these dynamics and went through extensive therapy and all of that, like reactive abuse is totally a thing. Reactions to abuse is definitely a thing. Toxic relationships and like a toxic cycle, that's totally, in my opinion, a thing. And but this idea that like, oh well, we were both just like abuser, like I still just don't really understand your point. Maybe I'm stupid and Alyssa's understanding this and I'm not, but I'm like trying to grasp your position other than, are you like, do you just want reassurance that sure, like I'm so sorry if you experienced abuse, that's terrible, no person should experience abuse, like what is it that you're looking for here?
Well, that wasn't from a sexual partner. That is from a family member. So in that situation, there was also a dynamic of someone being older than you, and there's a disproportionate. There's a power gap there, whatnot. So I will say that when you say, you seemed a little bit concerned, but I'm just letting you know that much, not to go into too much detail. But I just felt very offended when you said the things that you said about men and how supposedly, violent men are, and men are more physically capable. And so when a man snaps,
Well,
then they're more likely to do something extreme.
well,
But
Tim,
however, in the day-to-day, women
Mhm.
abuse men quite a bit.
I think
What is your evidence for that statement, Tim? I think you keep getting off track because
Yes,
I
there
feel
is.
for you. I'm so sorry that I'm so sorry that you experienced abuse. I heavily agree that men that are abused, they underreport, they are not believed. That is a massive issue. As a feminist, I deeply care about that. I think that is really important. But then you tie it back to this whole like you're trying to go the other direction with it and be like, no, men are the good ones and women are the bad ones. But we're not saying that. We're not saying men are the bad ones and women are the good ones. We're saying here are some actual issues. Let's look at the statistics. Let's address this. Men have been known to be more violent and more physically aggressive against women. Do I think that women also abuse men? Yes, we see this play out. I know people who have been in abusive situations because of women. What you're describing, it sounds like abuse, and I'm so, so sorry that you experienced that. But taking it back all the way around to like, therefore, you guys' perspective on like the actual real threats that men have historically played against women, like part of the expansion of like part of progress and caring is acknowledging that yes, like this abuse happens to all. It doesn't mean that all this other abuse that men have been perpetuating against women just now goes away because now we're going to be progressive and acknowledge that men experience abuse. I just think you're taking it to another point. And I appreciate your honesty in saying it makes me feel like, because I think that's the most accurate you're being here. And I feel for you back on that. But I do think it is just a feeling. And I would rather you lean into the like, okay, look, let's like, how can we bring all these issues up together? Like these things do matter without feeling like I have to say that like, well, everything else is not true then, because then you're just wrong because we have statistics that show that. Sorry, Alyssa was about to say something
Okay.
too.
I think I think it's one of those things where like all of these things can be true. Like I think you're right that like Promise said, the abuse that especially physical abuse that men may experience is going to be underreported. And part of that is also kind of like, I'm sure you've heard people say the phrase, the patriarchy harms everyone. And this is kind of part of that. And it's, men don't want to report like a woman abusing them because it makes them feel like potentially emasculated or like it's like an ego thing. And so men don't really feel very comfortable. They don't feel like it's going to be taken seriously. But that is like sort of not to say that this is like a blame placing thing, but it's like man on man crime, like that's a system that men unfortunately created. And the reason I say that is because in a way it's sort of nice to know that, because the change makers in that can be men. Like, you encouraging other men to report domestic abuse that they're experiencing, to talk about domestic abuse that they're experiencing, and you even calling into the show and sharing that you had that experience, like that, though, that is a change maker. And that can make a really big difference for people who experience domestic abuse and don't feel comfortable sharing. At the same time, we, like Promise said, we do have statistics that show that, as a whole, women experience domestic violence at a different, much higher rate than men do, at least when it comes to serious injuries. And, like the number one, when a woman is murdered, over 50% of the time it's by a current or previous partner. So, and it's also like sometimes when we talk about the difference between the way men and women approach like a variety of things, like going on hikes by themselves, walking to their car by themselves, and whatever. The reason why women have this like very instilled fear is because we are literally scared of getting killed. Like, the stakes are high for us. So it's kind of a different ball game from that reason alone. The stakes are just so different. But anyway, I think the good thing out of this is you really can be a change maker in having this conversation, especially if you notice it in your family, to share with them like, hey, this is not okay and not cool, and like, report this. Fuck that, report it. It deserves to be reported. It deserves to be documented just as much as any other domestic abuse situation.
Okay. I thought you wanted me to substantiate what I had said before about female on male abuse being more common when I made that. Because there is a study from
More common than what?
2007, but would you like me to do that or not?
Can you just finish your sentence? More common. You think that?
Well, do you think that only serious injury domestic abuse should we just focus on that? Is that what you're saying, or
Did you hear anything we just said? If that's your takeaway, I don't think that you are listening.
More, and you think that I'm making a change for the positive. But I think that, and you mentioned male, or you mentioned the patriarchy, and I do think one element of it is that men don't really want women to get in trouble and go to prison. I mean, a lot of times when a woman is abusing a man, she'll be slapping him in the face, just little things, not things that'll knock him out or something, but just slap him in the face, hit him, and men don't really want to force their families into the court system over that.
Well, you have to also consider, like I said, the stakes are much higher when the roles are reversed. If a man is slapping a woman, like comes with a different risk to that person's health and safety. Like, it's different, but also that's sort of like an internal thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, you could be a change maker there. If you're experiencing domestic abuse, then it is encouraged that you report that, whether that means they're going to like go to jail or not. If they're doing something wrong, then they deserve to have that be reported. But we can't force people to report anything, but you are having this conversation openly with us and should continue to have this conversation at home, and also like start an advocacy group. Like, like there's lots of ways to share that those things should be reported.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I hear what you're saying, that I can be an advocate. Well, on the internet sphere, a lot of this has seemed to, from the right wing men, or right wing sphere, they've said, women are able to get away with doing all this. So if they hit me in public or something, the man says he's going to be more aggressive to a woman, or he's not going to be chivalrous towards a woman in a way that they would prior. They would be more chivalrous because they were raised with certain things like, we're told, never hit a woman. Do you think that is a bad?
I think people should be taught don't commit violence against others, like in general. I don't think it should matter.
That good,
like,
or that
yes,
comes from
I think
the patriarchy, though.
Did you hear what I just said? I don't agree with your statement. I would not teach my kid, boys shouldn't hit girls. I would teach any child I have, regardless of their sex or gender, hey, don't be violent against others. That would be my take, based off of my my values in life. So that doesn't come from the patriarchy. That just comes from my own compass, the part of me that's like, hey, I value treating others well and not harming others. So don't commit violence against others. In fact, I have been a childcare professional where that's what I worked with the kids on, because 2-year-olds will try to eat each other and they'll hit each other and all kinds of stuff. And you're literally teaching them the basics, just little bits of we're not hurting others, we're not hitting, we're keeping our hands to ourselves, stuff like that. It has nothing to do with gender, and I don't think it should. What I do think is that if your size and your strength is different, then you can, it's like self-awareness. I had to grow up being self-aware that I was a lot smaller, and so I had different privileges where I was the one that could reach behind stuff and grab something if we dropped it, and my friend that was tall had the privilege of reaching the thing up in the counter. And when I was bigger than my little sisters, the brief time that happened when I was the taller one, I had to remember to be more gentle because my size is bigger, and so when I'm doing things, it has more of an impact than if they're doing things. So they can jump all over me and it's not going to hurt me. But if I had done that to them, I could break their back. So there's just self-awareness. These are very basic, easy solutions that don't require patriarchy.
Sure. But, I feel like a lot of those physical differences do coincide along the lines of sex. And so it just leads to a point where you're like, is this about size and strength, or is this about sex? It's very, hard to draw.
Is size and strength not a fact?
Well, it is.
So then we're just talking about facts.
What are you saying?
The self-awareness of the facts. If I'm a bigger person and I might injure this smaller person by doing something, then I don't want to do it because I don't want to injure them. I don't want to harm them. I still am not getting your point. We agree. Abuse against anybody is not cool. And all humans should be taught not to abuse other humans.
And I hear what you're saying, but I do sort of feel like that's a little bit justifying treating women's violence less seriously because they can't hurt men as much. So.
No, it's not. I just said
no one should be hitting anyone. No one should be hitting anyone. And also, you brought up the point that men don't want to report women in their lives because they don't want them to go to jail. Domestic violence goes on for a long time in people's homes before it gets reported a lot of the time. That's why there are shelters where people will go and be, anonymously kept there because it can be a very dangerous situation. And a lot of the times in these domestic violence situations, it's not just the domestic violence. It can be a situation where a woman is not, making her own income and she's trapped where she is. There's so much there. And I really the biggest thing is we're going to always boil it down to no one should ever be hitting anyone. And in the event that something happens, I would be so happy to encourage anyone and everyone to report. So, I don't know what else we could say to in this conversation with you, because I feel like we're just kind of talking in circle. Like we're agreeing with you and saying the thing that you want us to say because because we're aligned. And then you come back and you're like, well, I just feel like you're not taking it seriously. I'm like, I don't understand how we're not taking it seriously. I think we are taking it seriously, and also acknowledging that there is a difference in the risk involved when a man commits a violent act against a woman versus a woman committing a violent act against a man. The risk is higher one way or the other. Either way, all should be reported and none of it is appropriate.
Well, from my perspective, I just found that I was a little offended by how you had said what you said, and maybe you could look back at it and maybe you'll agree or maybe you'll disagree. But I think I'm entitled to feel that.
You are totally entitled to feel that way. I'm so sorry you felt offended. I don't know what was said or what wasn't. I do know that I'm almost positive that I still, throughout this conversation, stand by whatever I said. I don't know if I said something hyperbole. I doubt it, because I'm starting to remember more of that conversation. And what we were talking about was not crime against women. We were talking about violent crime, which you can go look at those stats. And the majority of violent crimes are committed by men. Violent crimes means like anything. I think it can be like showing up at a gas station with a gun. It can mean like getting in a bar fight, it can be a range of things, homicide, all of that. So that's what we were discussing there. And it's not my opinion. That was a statistic that we were citing. So I don't know if you just need to hear women say like, we don't hate all men. I'm married to a man. I clearly don't hate all men. The majority of my close friends are men. I've, just been spending time with one of my male best friends. So this isn't that. I think one of the things that would help you and men like you a lot is to talk to somebody about, like, I love that you're saying it makes me feel this way or I was offended. Like, that's massive. I already respect the self-awareness it takes to say stuff like that, but follow that through and figure out what's making you feel that way. That has nothing to do with me or with Alyssa or with the statistics, but I think there's just personal, like you've said some very personal things that I appreciate you sharing, that like you deserve to feel validated and heard in those. And so do all the women that have had stuff happen to them. And there is space for all of that to happen. Like all of that. We can all be validated in what we've experienced. And that's what Alyssa is advocating for. That's what I'm advocating for. That's, I think that is what you're advocating for, but I think you think in order for your issues to be heard, it means like dismissing others, and it doesn't. Like there is a lot of things can be true at once. And I encourage you, I don't know if you have already spoken with a professional about what you experienced. I think I've had to do that. It changed my life for the better. It was so great. And I found that a lot of the things I do feel sensitive about, like where people would say stuff and I'd be like, wow, I'm offended that you said that. I stopped feeling that way. And it's really nice to not be offended anymore by stuff that honestly doesn't have anything to do with me at the end of the day. Well,
It's something in the past, but it sounds odd, but like I don't mind being offended, but if I'm offended, like I'd like to get some explanation or closure to that. So, I'm not like, I don't know. I don't mind being offended. I don't know. I'd rather have a discussion after being offended than not have something be said.
I get it, but here's the thing. I reserve like discussions like that, like where I'm being emotional with somebody and they're being emotional and I'm like, how can I make sure you're not offended? Like that's for my really close friends. I also like if some host on some show that I don't know says something that offends me, like I don't get I don't get closure. I don't get a lovely conversation with President Trump when he says stuff that really offends me. You know what I mean? So there are going to be things like that you have to go figure out on your own and develop the skills to face and confront that offense without a conversation. And what if I'm just an asshole? What if I actually said something really awful? And what if I stand by it? And what if I'm just an asshole? And you will never get an apology from me, and you just have to live with that. You called the show one day, you talked to this person, terrible person, and now you have to live with the offense, not me. So that's why I'm encouraging you to find the skills to deal with these kinds of offenses without ever even having to talk to the other person, because it makes life so much better that way. Then you actually get power back in your own life to where you're not feeling offended or like bothered by women or by anybody else without like it actually being for a reason that's within your control, where you can go have that conversation with them, and it is somebody that means something to you that you can talk things through. That's just a little, sorry, that's unsolicited advice, but
I do
you
think
called,
your
so.
instinct is good,
Sure.
Tim, to like, I think your instinct to like want to talk things through is good though. Like I would so much rather someone talk things through than like sit and stew in it. But Promise is also right. Like it's always good to have a toolbox that has a bunch of different ways to resolve things, you know? It's all good stuff.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's a good point. I think that we should just accept sometimes we're not going to be able to talk everything through or respond to everything, but in this situation, I guess I could to some degree. So
Yeah. It's a unique opportunity that you're able to to have the conversation with us. But anyways, is there anything else you wanted to add before we wrap up your call?
I would just encourage you to keep looking into the data on that, and you can draw your own conclusions, and I can draw my own conclusions. Thank you.
Yeah. Have a good day, Tim.
Yeah, have a good one. Bye.
Oh, yeah. I feel like he just wanted us to say that we were wrong and he was right. And if we did not say that, then it was not gonna do the thing he wanted it to.
Yeah, the part of me, like I said, there are so many really important men in my life. Like there are so many things I absolutely love about men. And so when I hear calls like this, I feel bad because I can like, maybe it's the toxic part of me, probably is, where I'm just like, I see this like hurt that's happening, and I see where you've like projected it onto, it seems like, women in general in this situation. And instead of realizing like that we could be your biggest allies on the very issues that are upsetting you, like the fact that you haven't been recognized for whatever abuse it was that you experienced. Like, hello, we're the people that you want in your corner, that are ready to be there in your corner. But so many men, I think, it is the patriarchy. It's like, no, there's a hierarchy. We have to be at the top. And if we let you up here too, then now we have to be at the bottom. And it's like, no, you don't. Like, it doesn't have to be that way at all. There is space for all of our issues. That's the whole point. Like, that's the cool thing. And men have been convinced of this lie that like they have to maintain absolute, like, you know, either it's happening to us or it's happening to you, and there's no in between. There's no nuance. That's just not the case. Anyways.
I think so much of the time, it's just like, it feels better to look at it that way. It feels better to be like, there's one enemy and it's you. And it's like, that's just not, like, there's so much gray area in everything. Not even gray area, but like, it's so often that both things are true, and people, that just like doesn't feel as good. And it feels a little like victim mentality to just, I don't know. I feel for him because I like, he obviously has had this personal experience, but also how great would it be if Tim created like a support group locally? He's in New York, like he's in a state where, like, you know, it's so accessible to be able to find a public, well, I don't know, I'm like assuming he's here in the city. I have no idea where in New York he is. But anyways, he could make a little group that like is a support group, or create like an advocacy movement if he wants to, about reporting domestic violence, instead of calling in here to hear us say that domestic violence does also happen to men, which we agree with.
Yep.
It's just, I don't know, it's just strange. It's sort of like he would rather be the victim and live in that space than say like, this is the situation, and like, how do I turn this into something where I can be helpful and I can be of service to people who have also had this experience. Like, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, again, in the chat, Alyssa, you're giving Tim way too much credit. Blah, blah, blah. Stop with that. Stop. You guys always think that I'm giving all these people too much credit. Stop. You all claim to be humanists, and then you give me that shit all the time. Stop it. Stop. Honestly, it is so boring that you guys do that to me all the time.
I
And then
think
you turn around and claim to be humanists. Please give me a break.
Yeah, and Alyssa is the one sitting here having these conversations and engaging in this and like actually doing this for life. Like she's giving so much of her. No, I know her and I know this is not just like, oh, on Tuesday evenings I care about this. Like this is Alyssa's world and this is what she does. And so she is able to have one of the things I appreciate most about her, a really nuanced perspective of humans, and she treats them like that. And I think if we lose that part of ourselves in these conversations, which I get it, it's fun in the chat and like all that. But like you have to understand, Alyssa's here, I'm here, our faces are to all of this, and we want to maintain our humanity because if we don't, then what is the point? Like, what is
Yeah.
the point? Like, why are we even doing this?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's more fun when, things get catty and stuff. And sometimes it still goes that way. Anyways, we can do that and be humanists. It's the really fun part. But
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
I stand by you, Alyssa.
Thank you so much.
We have some other exciting calls. Do you want to take
Yes.
the second one or the last one first?
Maybe I don't know. I don't really have a preference. Actually, let's do the last one because it is a theist and we get to prioritize a theist, and also it's a different different tone, different conversation than the one we were having. So, let's pull in Luca, who's calling from the Netherlands. How cool.
Peace.
Hi, Luca.
Hello?
How's
you hear
it
me?
going? Yes, we can hear you. Can you
Faggot,
hear
whore,
us?
faggot, whore, faggot, whore, faggot, whore, faggot, whore, faggot, whore, faggot, whore, faggot.
You waited to do
Why
that?
do we like
Luca, you fucking loser. You waited on the
Ooh.
line to do that?
I mean, there
Like,
have to be 12-year-olds
literally,
that do this.
literally, like, the biggest loser behavior.
Also, of all things to
all
say,
time.
like that's
What are you in
What?
8th grade? You fucking nerd. Oh my God. Am I
Well.
giving him too much credit now, guys? Okay, well,
good
we'll
to
make
get rid
sure
of that
to,
one now.
yeah, we could ban that guy's number, I'm sure. What a
Yeah.
fucking loser. Anyway, okay. Well, that narrowed down the calls.
I
we
wanted,
had
do you know what's so
left.
funny? You know that person like sat there practicing like how
Yeah.
quickly they could get those words. Like they're just
I
sitting
went
there
in
by
the
themselves
shower.
saying
In the
these
shower
things
this
over and over
morning.
again.
Please.
How fast can I get to the word whore?
I
That's
know.
really gonna upset them. Oh my God, they're gonna lose their minds.
Oh my God, that is so crazy. Oh my God. Oh my, wait,
Incredible.
also, I just got a text from Kevin, my fiance. Okay. And I need you to know the irony of him texting me this while we're on the show is so great. He got a text from his dad, and it's a card with, on one side, it is a prayer. And on the other side, it says, name, address, I am a Catholic. In the event of an accident, please call a priest. Dead ass, this is something his dad found. And then he found, so it's that card. And then it's a card that he drew. Actually, Lux, if I send this to you, can you put it on the screen? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Because it's so funny and so like, first of all, I can't, in what world were they doing this? In like school, I guess? I don't know. That is so crazy. Okay, let's see. There's two of them. There's one that is, okay, it's loading. There's one that's the like, if found, bring to bring me to a priest, which is so crazy. Wait, why is this not loading? I hate this. Why do iPhones take pictures in .heic? It's the only,
What is that?
I don't know, but it makes me so annoyed because like it's so it most when you have to like upload something, that format like is no one ever wants to accept that format. So like what the hell? Okay, sorry. I had to take screenshots of it so that it would actually load. Okay, Lux, I'm gonna send it to you right now. Um, okay. So the first one the first one is what he got from, I don't know, whatever school or something. I wonder
Wait,
how
so
old.
this is so great. This was Kevin's or just Kevin's dad just found this?
No, this
Oh,
is
like Kevin.
Kevin.
Oh, Kevin wrote this.
Kevin wrote this. So the first
I knew
one.
I loved Kevin.
Oh my
How
God.
old
Okay.
was he when he did
So
this?
I don't know. I just asked him. So this was the card. The first one that you see now is the card that he got. He must have gotten it from school. And it says, I'm a Catholic. In the event of an accident, please call a priest. And then Kevin made a little homemade card that says, I am a human being. In the event of an accident, call a real doctor.
My favorite is the little like logo over on the side. It says, "My heart is in my body."
Oh my God. Oh my God. That
That
is
is
so funny.
incredible.
He sent it to me and he said
Wow.
non-believer straight out of the womb.
Incredible.
Oh my God. That is amazing. Anyway, okay. That was
Love
just
it.
so on brand for the show. I can't believe that he sent that now. Thanks, Lux, for doing that. Anyway. Okay, we have another call from an atheist who wanted to talk about the question that is in the title of the show, or not, well, a question about the title of the show, which is how could virginity not be real? That's their question. So I'm going to pull him in. This is Vass. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Hello, Vass.
Close.
Can-
Voss. Can you hear me?
Voss. Okay. Yes. Hi, Voss. How are you?
Uh, well, I'm doing all right. Long day at work, but I saw your show and I saw the poll question in the thing, and I'm like, wait, I don't understand it. So I guess I should start with. Also, you brought something up I wanted to talk about that reminded me of something my friend said, but I'll
Mhm.
addressing the initial question. So I put it in the prompt, but I don't know if I worded it well, so I guess I'll restate it as, to my knowledge, the term virginity was referring to someone with, for lack of a better way of putting it, no sexual experience. Is that not what that means? Or is there something else that being a virgin meant outside of that I must be unaware of?
So the whole reason why, sorry, when my dog is barking, the whole reason why we say like virginity is not real is because virginity is there's no like one way to define it, and there's no biological way to define it. So some people describe virginity as being penis and vagina sex, then that's how you lost your virginity. Some people believe that oral sex is like a way to lose your virginity. There's some people think fingers, like whatever. So like because there's no one definition, the word virginity doesn't really have meaning. It's kind of like when someone calls another person like a slut or whatever. It's based on their own opinion of like, actually, there's a funny like commonly used phrase in the sex therapy space where they'll say that you are having too much sex if you're having more sex than your therapist is. It's just so based in the context and based on what opinion you have about virginity, about sex and whatever. So to the reason why we say it's not real is because it doesn't have one universal meaning, and you can have sex and there's no biological way to determine if a person had sex unless it was like immediately after. Then maybe you would be able to tell. But if a person had sex like, you know, earlier that day, by the end of the day, there's nothing that you can really biologically determine for most situations if a person had had sex.
Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. I always thought it was like a label, sometimes used in a derogatory manner to refer to someone with basically no sexual experience. So I guess
Yeah.
when you put
Sometimes
it
it
that
is.
way, it makes more sense.
Yeah, sometimes it is. But you know what's funny? When people call into the show and they are they're like really hardcore core arguing that like virginity has one meaning, and sometimes they'll say like it's penis and vagina, that's when you've had sex. Then I say, okay, so like every lesbian ever is a virgin? Like that can't be true. And or like every gay man is a virgin. Like that's silly and doesn't make any sense. So it's sort of like a it's too vague, and it's so vague that it ends up being sort of like useless.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess if anything, I guess that's like saying that God is the universe. It broadens the definition so much it becomes useless. So, okay, I
And
guess I get where you're coming from when you say that.
the word itself too holds, like you said, it has so many negative connotations depending on how it's being used, or it's like upheld as, like the Virgin Mary, like it's something holy about you. And that gets like why I hate the term virgin or virginity is because when you think about people that have been sexually abused, especially as children, and then they're told you're no longer a virgin. And that's like the impact that that can have because the stigma surrounding this vague concept of virginity. It's just a all around, like I don't see a good it's not a helpful word. I think it's a hurtful word at this point. It's certainly not helpful, and it doesn't provide useful information, you know?
No, I get you. I wasn't calling to argue that it does exist. I was just,
Yeah.
I guess, looking more for clarification as to why you say it doesn't.
Yeah.
Also, that previous caller, I just have it in my mind that he was there like, if I practice really hard, I can get my slurs per second to the maximum.
Oh my God. And you know
But
what? I think with people like that, I'm like, it must be so nice to have the time and energy to really to think about doing that on a certain day. To be like, you know what I'm gonna do? Like, I don't have the time for that shit. My brain is not thinking about who's live on YouTube that I can annoy the crap out of today. Like, geez, Louise, get a hobby.
well, I can't say anything. I've got friends who are that petty. But speaking of my friends, I had a discussion with them. It kind of ended our game of D&D because we got kind of heated during it. But I figured you guys might be able to, since you brought up since you touched on it earlier. I think talking about the subject of abortion, and I believe that it should be the woman's choice whether to have an abortion or not. I think they should have access to it's health care is what it is. And I used to believe that if you had sex, you were consenting to become pregnant. And my friends still hold that, and they don't. Like, I tried explaining it, but they are stuck in the mindset of if you get pregnant because you had sex, you have consented to staying pregnant. And it's
That's like
I couldn't articulate a way to get through their incredibly tungsten dense skulls that that's not how that works.
Yeah, I mean, that's like saying you're consent if you get in the car, you're consenting to being, dying in a car accident. So it's your own fault. If it happens, then you shouldn't be able to do anything to prevent that, which is hilarious. And it's like you shouldn't be saved by, the cops after if you get in a car crash. Like even people who drive drunk and cause accidents still get medical assistance in those situations. So There's all kinds of examples there, but also to me, I don't care. Like my response to those guys would be like, so what? What if on in that moment I was like, yeah, I'm totally fine getting pregnant. And then what if I change my mind later? Like, how is that anybody else's business? So, because to me, it always comes down to personal autonomy. And if I don't want to consent to this happening anymore, then I shouldn't have to. Like, if I say that I am willing to donate my kidney to somebody, and then 10 minutes before the operation, I say, actually, I don't want to anymore. I can do that. So that's what I would say.
I will say I did try coming at it from it's not consent if you can't revoke it point of view, but they are, as I said, thick-skulled. But on top of that, another part that kind of explains it, they are staunchly theists. So
yeah, so they're just being dogmatic,
another discussion I've had with them, but.
Isn't there also a part of the Bible where they actually pretty consistently, not one part, but pretty consistently when they talk about life, they use the term breath. Like that is when they talk about
the breath of life.
Is when there's breath. And so that might be an interesting thing to bring up to them if it ever comes up again, that in the Bible it seems to be that life happens when breath happens, which would imply like when someone is born. And also, sometimes I ask people when I'm having this conversation, at what week marker do you feel that the rights of an unborn, undeveloped child, well, not child, unborn, undeveloped fetus has more rights than the person who's carrying it? Like, at what weeks have we what week have we just determined that to be the case? And sometimes they'll say like at conception, and maybe that's when you say, well, like in the Bible they say that life is. Yeah, I mean, but it might be interesting to talk to them about, in the Christian Bible, in the Judeo Bible, like or in the Old Testament, I guess, there's a lot of references to breath being where life is beginning. So I don't know, that might be an interesting tactic.
Well, I approached it from a different one, and you two probably know more about the Bible than I do, because I've only gotten some through osmosis. But if I remember correctly, and I brought this up to them, there's actually a passage that condones abortion, because there's a part where supposedly they make a potion and they make the woman drink it, and if she's been
the bitter waters,
unfaithful or whatever, it forces the pregnancy out of her. And it's like, what is that if not abortion? And they're like, well, it's not abortion because it's God doing it. And I'm like, bro, it's
right.
Exactly. It's literally God.
Yeah, it's a special pleading,
a fetus. Like,
right. Well, and then let's talk about miscarriages. Apparently God is in control of all, and how many millions of babies die in miscarriage. So is that God ordained abortion right there, But that's the problem when you're talking to theists. You have to understand that it doesn't matter. Like the Bible says all kinds of stuff, so they can cherry pick whatever they want out of it. Their argument is not coming from a standpoint of honesty and logic and consistency. It's coming from, here is the end goal, which is to say that abortion is wrong, and how can I slither my way around different things to show that I'm justified in this position, instead of being honest and saying like that's just their personal opinion, bro. They don't actually have anything solid to back that, and so much of it is just political propaganda, especially like Reagan era, because this didn't used to be a Christian issue, actually. Like this wasn't, now we heavily associate it with especially evangelical culture, but that's why it's going to be so like, yeah, you could go the Bible route, but like to me, it's pointless. It's not. At this point, it sounds like in your discussions with them, it might be easier to just say like, hey, so what would it take for you guys to be convinced that abortion is okay? and see if they're honest. Because if their response is, well, nothing, well, then there you go. There's no point in talking to them anymore. If they're like, well, if I thought that like blah, blah, whatever, I can't imagine what they would say, but that's what you'd have to find out. If I had to guess, they're going to say, there's nothing that could convince me that it's okay, you know?
I mean, I've already talked to them about what would it take to convince you that God doesn't exist, and they said nothing. So I've kind of given up on them thinking rationally at this point.
Right. Well, and then I would ask
they
them
think
why.
rationally about a ton of other things. It's just on these subjects that they are ill-informed about. That I didn't mean to make this a theological problem or bring up the.
No,
anyway,
that's great.
I just wanted your opinions on what could what might be a different tactic to try and persuade them, but it sounds like you're suggesting everything I've already tried. So
The last thing I would say, and I don't know
stubborn.
if you've tried this yet, is sometimes it's even just helpful to explain to them that abortion care is essential to make sure that when there is something dangerous happening, that option is available. Like, there have been so many stories now of women who wanted to keep their pregnancy, and for whatever reason, the pregnancy wasn't safe for them, or the child was not going to be a viable pregnancy. It was not going to survive. And so in order to save the mother, they had to have what is medically determined to be an abortion, but it was, a life-saving procedure for many people. And when you have abortion access even minimized, and it's now up to like the discretion of the doctor, and now the doctor potentially puts their license on the line to determine whether this is legal or not, then you're also running up against that problem too. It makes so much more sense to have the access be available to everyone, so that when those accidents happen, or not accidents, when those incidents happen, we're able to give those people the care that they need. Like, no woman or person should be driving across state lines in a medical emergency because their state doesn't have abortion access, and what the medical procedure that they need done is determined to be like an abortion. That was how I got my dad over the line, by the way. I was like, it's not about your personal choice, actually about the access being available to people who need it. And a lot of the time, the people who are pro-life are also people who want the government out of their business. So I think it's interesting that this is a place where they want the government in everybody's business because they need a reason that is acceptable to the government to do a procedure that is life-saving in one way or another, even if life-saving means this person gets to live the life that they intend to, because that pregnancy is not, they don't have to keep that pregnancy if they don't want to. And also, there aren't fewer abortions when we make abortion illegal. There are just fewer safe abortions. Like, people find a way. If they don't want to keep a pregnancy, they will find a way.
That was a point I brought up to them. It's like making abortion illegal doesn't help. It just makes it doesn't reduce abortion rate. It reduces safe abortion rate. And then we got into there were a whole bunch of other discussions with it where they were also very ill-informed, but I didn't mean to derail the conversation with this. I appreciate you explaining about your prompt that virginity is fake.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling in and clarifying, because I know it's so like clickbaity on its own, but it is that's the whole reason why we say that. But thank you so much for calling. This was a really nice conversation.
Absolutely. I wasn't expecting it to go this way, but I think it's better than that dude trying to beat his slurs per second.
Oh, that was
is
crazy.
Very true. Thanks so much, Voss.
Thank you.
Y'all
have a good
great
night.
evening.
Thanks. You too. Lovely. That was nice. A nice little palate cleanser.
Like that.
Yeah. Apparently YouTube is like 90% down, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah,
here we
and
are.
I know, here we are. We seem to be fine. Our like stream seems to be okay. But
Oh,
yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, okay, so we have 2 calls here. Do we want to go spicy?
yes, let's do it.
Okay, let's pull in Goyan. I'm
And I
gonna
know you have
ask.
a hard stop time, so we can make sure
Yeah.
if you need to rein it in at any point, then just say that so we have time for supers.
Okay, cool. Is this Goyan? Goyan? Let us know how to
Faggot,
pronounce
whore,
your
faggot,
name.
whore, faggot, whore, faggot, whore, faggot, whore, faggot.
Oh,
whore,
it's the
faggot,
same.
whore, faggot,
You're
whore,
such
faggot,
a
whore,
wait.
faggot, whore.
Don't hang up on him yet. You're a fucking nerd. Like you're a nerd and you're a loser
He's literally
again.
giggling.
Like, are you
Sorry,
in
I did
8th
hang up on him.
grade? Oh no, it's okay. Like, are you truly like, are you in 8th grade? I wish we could call him back and be like, and when you go to the cafeteria and you get your milk, do you do chocolate or regular? Because that's what it's giving. Oh my God. What is this? What's going on? Why?
Maybe we can get some super chats on better ways that this troll could be spending their time, or like better trolling, like something interesting at least.
He was
I
literally
know.
giggling. What a
And make
fucking
up.
nerd.
Yeah. Nerd. Like loser nerd behavior. And
I
you
would
want to
like
know?
for trolls to learn that like when you do this, it actually helps us
Yeah.
long term. Like it makes you look like an idiot, and it makes it seem like nobody can defend some of these ridiculous points of view to the point that they just have to call in and say words from 8th grade.
It's also like we have 1,000 people watching this stream right now, and that person spent the last almost 2 hours waiting on hold so that he could use those 2 words. We're paid to be here and have 1,000 people watch this. Like, you're a loser. Find something else to do, you fucking dweeb. Oh my God.
Also, therapy would be amazing. Something like you're wanting to feel something apparently, but like
No, like literally
there are ways
go
to
to
do
therapy.
this. Yeah,
Go to therapy.
please.
Christ on a caraca. All right. Well, we have one more call and then we'll get to super chats. So
We'll see
make
if
sure.
this is now I'm convinced that it's all like
I know
if it's
they're
an
all gonna be
international call, it's gonna be
trolls.
a VPN. Yeah.
Oh,
We'll
it's
find
crazy.
out.
Anyway, so get your super chats in now because we'll read them after our last call. Hopefully not a troll. I don't think this is a troll, but what was I gonna say? Oh, and if you haven't liked the stream, like the stream and stay tuned
Yes.
for Jimmy's show right after hours. Who's on today? Is it Jovan and Jimmy?
I think it's Ari, Mermaid Ari.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, great. So that'll be fun. So stay tuned. You'll be directed that way. And you're right. I see in the chat, nerd is not an insult, and you're so right. Nerds are, and you know what? He doesn't even deserve to be called a nerd. He doesn't deserve it. He's a fucking loser. Anyway, all right, let's pull in Joshua, who's calling from Bulgaria and hopefully not a troll. Hello, Joshua.
Hello, definitely not a troll.
Okay, the second you said hello, I was like, great.
You already said words, so we're already doing better.
Yeah, we're doing
Right.
great.
Yeah.
What did you want to talk about today?
Yeah, so my prompt was how do you two handle misogynistic and misandric statements when talking about topics that you're doing on the show, pretty much?
Mm-hmm.
Do you mean like when we are told things personally or when we experience it personally?
Experience, told stories about, like, what I've noticed is, if you couldn't tell by my accent, not from Bulgaria, but when I moved to Europe, I know how the, I guess, environment changed, where these statements in America are one way, how they are in Europe is something different. And navigating these statements, trying to either argue hey, these are issues men face, these are issues women face, without insulting the person I'm talking to and the experiences they have.
Yeah. Well, I think, it's important to validate the experience that people have um and allow them to have whatever feelings they have about whatever it is that they might be talking about, and also draw their attention to the spaces where, you know, many times we were talking about this earlier, everything is so nuanced, and no one position can be totally right all the time. A lot of this, it's like, yes, you know, the job market can be misogynistic, but there's going to be like some industries where that's not the case, like in, I don't know, the fashion industry, or in like a hair salon. Maybe it's not so misogynistic, maybe it's misandrist. And so now, not everything is going to be completely black and white one way or the other. So I think part of it is like allowing for the nuance to breathe and exist, and for that person to have their experience and validate what their experience is. And also, like, I was saying this to a different caller about something else, but like sort of letting go the emotional attachment to needing to be right, or like proving something right in that conversation, and just have the conversation, because you're more likely, I think, to change people's minds, or just give them a fresh perspective when you're not trying to prove something or get them to say in that moment, you're right, I'm wrong. Like, it's not really that rarely works, I think. I don't know. Promise, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm still not 100% clear on the question, so sorry if I say anything irrelevant, but I don't know, when I'm having these conversations, like if somebody's saying something that's truly, sexist towards somebody else, then there's usually just some facts, or there's like a data I can point to, where I don't have to worry about that. I don't know if you're talking about, like, maybe you can clarify a little bit more. Are you looking for examples, like in how you have conversations yourself, or how to not let things impact you?
Not really like me personally. So how I conduct myself is pretty much I look at a stereotype and I'm like, how is the best way I can break this? That's my approach. But basically, from when I was a child, by a friend, like how I approach things is like pretty ease on and well easy for them to like kind of course correct. I'm not really confrontational with it. But this was also when I was learning about more things and trying to understand the other side most of the time. But there's also all these extra statements. Like if you make a comment online, you'll have like 50 different people saying, "Oh, yes, this is why like this sex is terrible or this sex is terrible." Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. It's like
Yeah.
like the domestic violence one affects women more,
Right.
but
Oh,
isolation affects men more. Like,
mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're just asking
yeah,
how to like get people to be able to handle nuance in a conversation. And I don't know, when you figure it out, let me know. That's what we're trying to do all the time. And I think you have to evaluate how the conversation is going, that person's commitment to being intellectually honest throughout, your own commitment to that. Because sometimes there can be some topics where, you just know you have a bias and it's going to come out, unfortunately. And maybe that's what makes you be more cautious and try to steer your bias the other way. But yeah, I think with that, the best way to create space for nuance in a conversation is to present evidence for it. Like, here's the evidence. Here's yes, and I like that statement a lot for things. I don't know if that answers your question.
I think it does. There's
Yeah,
no
I think
easy
I
answer
think
for this question.
yeah, and I think you wanting to find nuance is already, like, you're already in a good spot, because I think we're in a space where you know, rage baiting is what gets views, and people are wanting views and they want clicks and they want all this stuff on the internet. And so they know that saying the thing that has no nuance will get them those views. And so they just really lean in heavy to that. And then on top of that, God forbid anyone is wrong on the internet. Then it's like, first of all, you'll be crucified by someone, even if you do admit that you maybe like phrased something wrong or whatever it is. But we also, I think, have such a, and I don't think it's now more than ever. I think it's just we see it because everything is so public facing on the internet, but people just have a really hard time having discussions of nuance, like because it feels like you're wrong. And that's not the case. It's like Promise said, it's like yes and. So like a lot of the times I'll post content, and I'm sure Promise has had this experience too, where we'll post content and like you only have a couple of sentences you can feasibly put on a screen. And so while what we're saying might actually require nuance, it's not always doable to do in such a really short piece of content. But in the comments, I'm happy to have a conversation about where the nuance lies, and I'm happy to like see people have that conversation in there. But I think so often people feel like attacked when nuance is brought into the equation, and it's not an attack. It's like it's actually the truth, and you should be really happy that people are wanting to yes and the things that you're saying too. So I don't know. I don't feel like that really answers your question, but I but I do agree that everything has so much nuance, and people just really want to ignore it, and it's stupid.
I think so too. I've noticed it's not really more of a rage baiting thing, but it's a one team versus the other team.
Yeah.
Probably specifically why I said misogynistic and misandrous. Two teams pitting against each other. So if you say something for one, they're like, "Oh, they assumed you're part of their team," and it's like, "No, I will insult you to your face just like I did the other people if you say something stupid." Like,
yeah.
But
It's
just having to work through that is hard because I'm tired of seeing like all women are terrible comments, and then go to a different post and it's all men are terrible comments, and I'm like, how do you learn about anything with these mindsets?
Yeah, I know. Well, I think that there's also been this interesting conversation that's happening online where there's sort of like the death to the expert and the death of intellectualism. It's like everyone's an expert, which means no one's an expert. And we're giving random people authority to have conversations with, like, saying things like, all men are terrible. We're giving a random person the authority to say that when, like, under what circumstance is this random fuck ass influencer like the person who should be declaring something like that? And then everyone's in the comments cheering them on, and it's like, then you can follow someone who's, one of my favorite people in my like industry is Esther Perel. She's like a very famous sex therapist. She is so she's so committed to the facts because I mean she's a professional, she's a therapist, and she's brilliant. She's so committed to the facts that sometimes when I'm watching her content and like I want to hear the real truth, sometimes I'm watching her content and I'm like, oh, because what she's sharing is nuanced. It is like there is a lot more that the like, men and women have in common than we have in difference from each other. So like it's stuff like that. But that's not as interesting. It's not as interesting for people to follow someone like Esther Perel, who's going to give you nuance and who's going to give you the truth and to say, actually, like, you want to have this really polarized thing because it's spicy and it's exciting and it's rage baity and whatever. But like, that's not the truth. The truth is something in between. That's not as exciting as someone like, there's a girl, Drew Afualo, who makes content that, like, a lot of the times I do enjoy her content, but she's making content where she's like really explicitly making fun of of men, and that feels better to watch than someone like Esther Perel, despite the fact that Esther Perel is an expert, like a certified expert, been in the industry for so long, and we should be trusting her guidance more than this other influencer. I don't know. People are just doing things based on how they feel.
Your comments reminded me of something. Do you know of the phrase "every lie is built on a kernel of truth"?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm picking up from this, because it's like every one of the influencers saying, they say something that has this foundation and then spins wildly off into the distance. So, and I think it's because it's just not interesting. It's
Well, and that's why
somehow
you see
made.
that it's like an internet thing that we're mostly seeing. Because I think when you're like face to face with somebody, you're talking to them, people are almost forced into more nuance. You know, it takes us longer. We have to repeat ourselves. We have to like figure out a way to reword something and all of that. But it is the internet doing a lot of it. I think one of my sorry I interrupted, but I wanted to share this before I forget. But one of my favorite things to do in those conversations is to ask, like when you said somebody will say something like all men are the worst or all women are the worst, to just say, why do you think that? And then that can get you to another conversation where you can start bringing nuance and stats and everything, you know?
Oh.
Yeah, it's much better in person. Like, what happened?
Oh,
you're back
you
now.
like cut out. Yeah, for a second you cut out, but you're back.
Fantastic. Yeah, I really do agree, because in person, I can read like body language and what their facial expressions are saying, what their like eyes are doing, and online you're deprived of all of that. And like we turned this type of hitting teams and rage baiting into a form of entertainment, and I don't ever think you can always find honest truth in entertainment.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I kind of feel like sometimes I want to like make some sort of content to say if you're following someone and everything they post feels really black and white and feels like they're just constantly making declarations that are edgy and shocking and like highly entertaining, to be extra skeptical of those people, because like that is just not really how real life works. Like you're better off following someone who is, if you follow someone who's able to share nuance at all, then you're more likely to actually get the truth from them. But if it's constantly like this really polarizing content, this polarizing information, then like tread lightly, because something is not right and most things are not that.
True.
You know?
Well, I think that answers my question. So,
can I ask you a question, Joshua?
Absolutely.
What brought you to Bulgaria? I'm so curious.
Okay, this is a very long topic. So I grew up poor in America, didn't want to be straddled with debt, spent like 5 years saving up to plan on going to Europe for education, met a Bulgarian, then found a university here that teaches psychology and English, and then neuropsychology as a master's.
Wow.
For short. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, I love that. I was curious because a lot of the times when American people move to different countries, I feel like it does have to do with like the quality of life and that kind of stuff. And so I figured that might be the case, but I just wanted to be nosy and find out.
Congrats on doing all of that. That is really amazing.
It's fine. Thank you. Like, it's not entirely the truth, but a lot of these topics that you are discussing, I faced as a child growing up, like domestic violence, but it's mostly my mother on my father type of thing. And then I also saw how my father would do all of the stereotypical like victim things, like, oh, I still love her, this is my wife. And this is where I kind of learned you have to really be patient with them and slowly change their minds. Anything forceful, they're just gonna like dig in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're finding the healthy space in it. The nuance is important, and it's good that you're, taking baby steps in those conversations too. And actually, Joshua, I don't know if you were here, if you tuned in the very beginning of the show, we were talking about American treats that Promise is bringing to her family in Finland. So, are there any American treats that you miss that, like, if someone could bring them from the U.S. to Bulgaria, what would you want them to bring?
Oh God. Not really. Remember, like in the beginning of the conversation, I take a look at a stereotype and I'm like, what's the best way to break it? Like to this day, I've been here for about a year, going on 2 years. I have not stepped foot in a McDonald's.
Wow.
Good for
you.
That's awesome.
They exist here, and I keep walking by because I refuse to be the American goes to an American establishment in a foreign country.
Oh my gosh.
I feel you. I have very similar feelings when I'm in Finland, except for I eternally miss chips and salsa and queso when I'm over there, because you cannot, like, they'll tell you that they have chips and salsa and then they bring it to the table and you're like, have you guys ever had chips and salsa before? Because this is not. That's the one thing where I'm still on the hunt, but I can make it myself, so I guess that's fine.
Okay, yeah, that's very true. There's like a Mexican place down the street, and I'm like, I don't think they serve anything with spice or chili,
right?
Ever.
Yeah. There's some, I guess they're called American Mexican restaurants in Finland, and it's exclusively burgers. I think one of the places has like a taco on the menu, but it's just like burgers with like massive amounts of mayo on it. So I feel like you and I will both be over in Europe missing our decent Mexican food, but everything else is pretty phenomenal, so no complaints.
How are you handling the cold? Because I'm not. Like, it's snowing and I refuse to even open a window.
Yeah, no, it's very cold in Finland. Do you have merino wool, like, underwear layers? Because I just wear that under everything, and I'm actually hot all the time. So I just layer up, and somebody Finnish taught me this. You have to leave air between your layers. So, like, if I wear tight merino wool, like long sleeves and long leggings, then I wear something like baggier over it, and then I'll put like a big coat on over that. But it's the air in between that is what insulates you. And I think before I was just doing like lots of really tight layers, and that was not happening. So like when I'm wearing shoes, I wear like some tight socks, and then I wear some like looser fitting ones to allow for insulation. But it's like, it's so cold. You have to like have a protocol and everything to survive.
Okay. Great to know, because I'm usually rocking like 5 layers and 2 hoodies.
Yeah. Yeah. I think also a lot of it is just like deciding like, well, I'm going to be cold and I'm just going to deal. But the summers, I feel like, make it worth. I don't know what summer is like in Bulgaria, but hopefully a little more mild than like in Nashville, where you're eaten alive by bugs.
I grew up in Georgia in the U.S.
Oh,
so
I'm from Atlanta.
having to explain to Bulgarians like, oh, me too. Fantastic.
Oh, nice. Look at us.
So
oh my God,
all
you
about,
guys.
Holy shit. So you know all about where the rain boils.
Oh, Yes.
great.
Where
Yes.
the rain boils.
Listen,
real?
it is.
In Georgia, if it gets hot enough in Georgia, like we're talking closer to 98 to 102, and it rains,
Mhm.
it instantly turns to steam on the concrete, and everywhere's a sauna. So if you don't
Yep.
handle humidity
Oh.
well,
Oh God, that
Yeah,
sounds
it's-
brutal.
sucks to suck, I
It
guess.
is. Yeah, it is so brutal. Yeah, that's why in the winter in Finland, I'm just like, could be worse. I
Could be
could be
worse.
in Hotlanta in the middle of July. So,
Atlanta.
Well, Josh, thanks so much for calling. We loved
Yeah.
this conversation, and I'm really proud of you for what it's worth, for being where you're at and pursuing things that you want to pursue. And I just wish all the best for you.
Thank you so much for having me, Paul, and hopefully this is probably a better conversation to end the night than Slurs.
It was the best. Honestly, it was the best.
It was. Thank you so much, Joshua. Enjoy the rest of your night.
You too, but
Oh, okay. I did the
It's that
thing. I'm
delay.
so sorry. I'm so
That was
sorry,
so
Joshua.
sweet. I love that. That's so cool. It's so cool to hear from fellow immigrants that have made it out of the US and are
I know. That is so
are
crazy. I
living
can't
their
believe that.
life.
And he also is from Georgia. That is so crazy.
I love it. I love it.
Wow, we really went full circle too because we talked about treats, American treats, and
And we're back to our super
came-
chats.
I can't believe we had 2 troll calls like that. We've never had 2 troll
Well, it was the
calls
same.
like that.
That was the same guy.
Yeah, but like I
Yeah.
can't believe we like that doesn't really happen on Chewed Gum very much. I'm shocked.
I wonder if it's somebody that follows me and was
probably.
waiting or something. Hello, baby.
Bonnie. Her
Aw.
little tooth is like ready to fall out. Poor thing.
Oh, Bon.
Yeah. My Bonnie girl. Okay, should we do super chats?
Let's do it.
All right. $5 from Fiona the Foxy. Hashtag Team Promise. I hate purity culture so much. You and I both. And Promise.
Yes.
We
Thanks,
all
Fiona. £5 for Mystic Mind Analysis. Most of my high school experience was constantly accused of being gay and barraged with questions about my sexuality when I wasn't even interested. Oh, that sounds awful.
Yeah, that is awful. $5 from Alyssa Nguyen. I sued Delta Airlines because this is a song. I sued Delta Airlines because they sold me a ticket to New Jersey. I went there and it sucked. Song, I'll sue ya. That's really funny. That's going to be my swan song. I will sing that song forever.
Amazing.
My headcanon is that troll caller is from New Jersey.
Oh
Yes,
my God.
that's the story. $5 from Sarah Talks Pod. Alyssa, are you taking new clients for relationship coaching because your girl needs help? My call didn't make it through to the show today.
I am taking a few, but not many, and I'm trying to balance my client load to be more women. So actually, email me, and we'll talk about what we can do to work together. Because I'm trying to get some more girls on the roster.
$5 from Fiona the Foxy. Promise salted nut rolls and Annie B's caramels are a proud Minnesota tradition, and we like Finnish salty licorice too. That's amazing. I don't like licorice at all, and so I actually thought maybe if it's salty, I will like it more because I'm a savory girl, not so much a sweet girl. Nope. It's not. I can't do it. I don't like it. I'll eat pretty much anything else in Finland except for the salty licorice. It's really intense, you guys. So that's impressive. Like, if you like it, I'm impressed. That's how intense it is.
That's so interesting. $10 from God's Sinner. I used to think of virginity like how they taught. Now I see it purely as have you had any experience? Unfortunately, I have many complications with losing my virginity around 7 from Kara Kell. I feel like my brain is not understanding what I just read. Yeah, I mean, like the definition of virginity is kind of made up. So you get to decide what
Yeah, I'm
losing
so
your
sorry that
virginity
happened
meant
to
to you.
you. Something that
Yeah.
happened to you, that's not losing. That kind of implies that there was something on your end, that you lost
Yeah.
something, that you did something wrong. And I'm so sorry. That's why we're so against that term, because it isn't fair to somebody like you, because that's not a way to describe what you went through, and it's not validating of the actual trauma you experienced, and it's invalidating of something that you didn't have, which was a positive, consensual, first-time sexual experience. $5 from Joshua Everett, 9887. Gospel of Lies by Our Very Own Promise is available for pre-order now, both online and at your local bookseller. Ships in May. Thank you for the reminder. This is very true. I'm so excited. You guys, it's really fun to go look at it on the Amazon new release list, and the, what do they call it? Like the rankings, because it's just out there with all these religious books. So it's right next to books that
love
are
it.
talking about all kinds of pagan women, feminists, and stuff like that. So
Oh,
it's
I love
great.
it.
But yes, pre-order. And I'm going to be putting out a podcast series, which Alyssa will be guesting on as well, on the different chapters in the book. That'll come out in May. So that's why I'm saying pre-order, because then you can get it and you can read along and be part of the little hang, like a book club.
Yay, I love it. $10 from Bobby Kennison. When I was in Boy Scouts, the Scoutmaster held a hot dog over the campfire until it split. He said that's what happens if you don't use a rubber, then stomped on it and wailed at the starless sky. Oh my God, that sounds traumatic. What the hell?
That's what was going on in Scouts.
This sounds like a joke, honestly.
Oh my God, I hope it was. That's crazy. That is crazy. Oh my goodness.
1999 from Cody Cooper, 2619. Love chewed gum because it's great to get female perspective on things, but also the same few trolls seem to call many line shows now. I think Theus and MAGA are afraid to call some hosts, but chewed gum still gets great calls. Thanks so much, Cody, for the support.
Yeah, thank you. $9.99 from Hannah Hodgins. Taking a long hiatus from videos and social media. Also was hit hard with severe case of the flu, but wanted to pop in and send people the best vibes I can. Hard to be optimistic these days. Oh, Hannah, I know you've been sort of in and out, and I'm proud of you for taking a little hiatus when you can. That's really hard to do, and I'm proud of you for sticking to it and just popping in when you feel like it's mentally, emotionally safe for you. Also, the flu frickin' sucks. I got it last year and it was legitimately the most sick I've ever been in my life. So I hope that you're feeling better and getting lots of electrolytes in and taking care of yourself. It sounds like you are, which is wonderful. I think
is this me? Sorry. $10 from Meg801 for Tem to open with Happy V-Day and then proceed to accuse you two of claiming men were violent, then citing right-wing sources about women's violence towards men is wild. Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of personal issues being brought into that conversation that just weren't relative to the facts, unfortunately. And we should have focused on, I feel like, pick one or the other.
$5 from Joshua Everett. Tim, in any case, the ones we are typically talking about are the ones who do commit violence. Violence, that's funny. Not literally everyone. If it don't apply, let it fly. Right. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah. $10 from Meg. If a man chooses to not contact police, I'm sorry, but that's on him. Our president has set a precedent for male abusers to not be punished. Women are tired of being ignored, myself included. Yeah, there's so many layers to all of this that we were not even able to touch in that conversation. But for sure.
$5 from Carverest. 137 women and girls lose their life every day from domestic violence. Half of all homicide victims, women, are from DV. Just not comparable. Yeah, that's the thing is we can validate that men's domestic violence is underreported, but you can't then invalidate how prevalent it is for women and girls. Like 137 women and girls lose their life every day. Lose their life. That's also what I was trying to say to Tim. Like, the stakes are so much higher for us. Like, they just are, which is why the conversation, like, I'm sorry that it feels like it's weighted in a way that makes him upset, but like the conversations are different. They just are.
Yep. $10 from Melatonin Ale. I called the cops on my dad for my mom when I was 12 and they escorted him off the property, but my mom decided not to press charges because she didn't want it to affect his employment. Yeah, see, that's the problem is that, first of all, I'm so sorry you went through that, but also for every anecdote that Tim has, we have other anecdotes, which is why we have to actually look at data.
Yeah.
And hold space for all of these things. Like, one of these things being true doesn't mean the other ones aren't true as well.
$4.99 from Philip Kelly Benton. Facts don't care about your feelings, Tim. Yeah, I know. You know, it's interesting because Tim is another kind of person where like you hear him and it's like he obviously is really hurt by his experience and is looking for accountability. Which like I understand in his circumstance. Like, yeah, you should have accountability for your personal situation, but like calling into a show and saying that like, you know, the facts are not the facts is a little silly. So I hope he gets some therapy and, you know, maybe have some tough conversations with your other family members. Perhaps.
Yes. Or cut them off or something. I don't know, whatever needs to happen.
Right.
$5 from Alice in Dr. Pepper. Tim, you typical man that expects women to change their life because you have a member. Yeah.
You know. $4.99 from Pink Daisy Daydreams. That's a cute name. Promise. Thoughts on Heated Rivalry. And Alyssa, have you had the chance to watch it yet? I loved your video on it. Any plans to read the book? Well, Promise, have you watched Heated Rivalry? Oh yeah, you have.
Did you watch it?
I haven't watched it yet. Honestly, are you shocked that I haven't seen it yet?
I am so shocked that I've seen it and you haven't. But also, I'm obsessed. Like, these gay boys just live in my head nonstop now because these relationships are the cute, like, I love it. Why haven't you watched it? Just life?
Because I want to watch it with Kevin. Like, because it, not for no other reason aside from like his friends were all talking about it and he was on tour, so he didn't get to watch it. And then we were like, okay,
totally watch it together.
Yeah, he was like, we should watch it together. So he came back from tour, worked a bunch, and then went to he just came back from Australia, and then he goes to San Francisco this weekend. Oh, he's opening, not him, but he's accompanying someone who's opening for Sam Smith, so that's kind of fun.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. But then he'll be back next week, and then we'll actually be able to be best friends and watch Heated Rivalry. Oh, Jesus Christmas. Sorry, there's a dog. Our neighbor has a ginormous dog who's really cute, but every time he walks by, my dogs they're
not happy about it.
Anyways, I was not planning on reading the book, but I know that author has written like a whole series.
I think it's an audiobook too. Fun. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, my reading list is so long that I don't think I'll ever get to that because I watched the show and like I just needed pure heartwarming entertainment and that's what I got and it was great. So
yeah.
$10 from Idle Bits. Alyssa, your calm approach and attempts to humanize people is what makes this my favorite show on the line. Thank you for all you do. Yes, she's the best ever.
Thanks.
I love those
That's
things
really
about
nice. That's really sweet. Thank you. 10. Am I stupid?
10 you know this one.
Euros?
Yes.
Okay. Y'all. From Joe R. Dim. I don't know. In ex-Muslim spaces, women frequently say they are victims of domestic abuse. I always endorse RFR, but I want to know, recovering from religion, but I want to know about some international women help organizations, which can even be contracted from Iraq, etc. I don't know. That's a really good question. If anyone has any suggestions, put them in the chat because I'm not sure.
Honestly, recovering from religion might actually know. I would email them or find their contact info because wherever they don't offer stuff, they are still working with and are very connected internationally. So I would check in with them and see. Also, let me tell you real quick, there's somebody I follow on Instagram who is ex-Muslim, goes by the handle infidel.noodle, and I absolutely love her. And she's got stuff on there, and she may have that information for you. So go check out her stuff and see.
Love.
$5 from Sapphic Hazard. It's not virginity unless you orgasm. Otherwise, it's just sparkling petting.
Oh my God, sparkling petting is great. I love that. $10 from Hypa Yazoo. My apologies to you, Alyssa. I genuinely wish for Tim to be a better person and he's struggling, but he has said some nasty things in other shows that my empathy for him is very low. Forgive me. I know that you guys have a lot of different contexts for him, for like these people who call, and that happened with Andrew too. But like, I think it's just like I take it personally because you guys are talking about Tim. You know what I mean? But like for me, I'm taking it like you guys think that like I don't know what I'm doing, which is like really a me thing, and I'm realizing that now. So like I can take responsibility for that.
Thing that I can't see the chat and do the show at the same
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah,
I totally get it though. I another thing I think about though, and this is like, here's my toxic empathy that the right wingers don't want us to have, but we're getting a snippet of this person. Sometimes it's their worst version because they're maybe coming to us with one of their worst opinions that they have, and we're hearing that. Maybe we're getting their best too. We don't know. But that's the thing, we don't know. And there is like so much more on the other side of the phone. And I try not to reduce that person to this conversation, even though I can make a lot of I can be like, well, you already hold this thought, so therefore like it's going to be really difficult for me to give a shit about any of these other things. But our job is to create conversations where people might actually change their minds, whether it's the person on the other end of the line or somebody listening. And I think keeping that in our head and remembering like that it's a human is still important. I don't know. I think it's really important. And I love how Alyssa carries herself and the kinds of conversations that she has because of it. Sorry, I'm like slurring my words now because I'm so tired and I'm losing my voice.
It's okay. I'm getting distracted because I have to pee so bad, but we're almost done. So I'm not going to get up and pee right now.
We're getting there.
I don't know who this is. Is it me or you?
I'll go. $9.99 from Bleeding Roses. Does consent to sex also mean consent to STDs that shouldn't be treated? That's a way better response than what I said. Treating pregnancy like a punishment for women wanting and having sex is so gross. Love you both. You are amazing as always. Thanks so much. And thanks for the phenomenal point. And if it's okay, I'm going to use that in the future.
Thank you. $10 from Space Barbarian. Virginity is fake is technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. By the way, I'm a huge nerd and just try not to be an asshole unless people deserve it. Yeah, girl. Exactly. And unfortunately, a lot of people do.
$10 from the NB Weirdo Levi. Tried calling in earlier because I realized how much of my anxiety around trying to date was affected by purity culture. Might call in the next one. Love you guys and what y'all do. Yes, definitely call.
Yeah, call in.
Not that I'll be here, but Alyssa will.
I will. $20 from Bobby Keniston. Alyssa, you became my favorite host early. Oh, Bobby. When you treated a caller with humanity, though they'd been with an underage teen, then after explained why to chat. You're brilliant. Sorry I was ever impatient of your patience. Thank you so much. That's really nice. I will never forget that caller because...
Was I there?
I think you were because it was early, unless it happened to be an episode that you weren't there for. But
I've blocked this from my mind.
Yeah. He also Jimmy just texted me and said, y'all gotta speed up. Okay, we're almost done, I think.
Sorry.
But yeah, so he called and he talked about like having a girlfriend who was a minor and like having sex with a minor. And I basically was like, this is a problem and you should talk to somebody about it and like whatever. Directed them towards a resource, and that was more important to me than like, you know, shaming them out of seeking some support. So anyway, thank you so much, Bobby. That's really, really kind. And you are one of my favorite chatters because you are so kind and also very funny. Bobby sent us a lot of very funny chats.
Love Bobby.
Yeah, me too.
$5 from Joshua Everett. The tube main page might be down, but all we need is chewed gum. Thanks for hanging. Don't forget to like and all of that too. And stay tuned. We're wrapping here, and then Jimmy's up next.
Yes. $5 from Cassie Wolf. What do you call an elite team of trans women? X-Men. Ooh, that's great.
Nice.
That's really good. I love it.
Oh, $50 from Carverist. Alyssa, like many men raised in purity culture, I never considered how horrible my beliefs were. If not for you, I'd still hold all those beliefs. You're incredibly talented and your work is amazing. Thank you.
Oh,
I love all this,
really
Alyssa love.
Nice. You guys, this is really nice. And I'm gonna watch these later and cry, but I can't do that right now because I have to pee so bad. But that's really nice. Thank you so much. You are always welcome here, and that's just really kind. You guys, oh yeah, all you guys are being so nice to me. I don't know what to do this. $5 from Aaliyah on a silver boat. Alyssa, I appreciate your nuance, but sometimes I find it cathartic to yell at a misogynist. Also, promise don't leave us. Hashtag death. Yeah, I know. We want promise to stay forever.
10 pounds from Jessica87. Moi, Finnish winter is great. Yeah, it's cold, but the air is crisp and fresh. -20 doesn't feel like -20, and it's beautiful. I would rather -20 in Finland than 0 Celsius at home. Rakastan sinua bayon. I'm not saying that word right because I don't know what the last word means, but something about loving.
Pronunciation was so good. That was really good.
No, listen, thanks, but no, it wasn't. My husband's probably watching this and I'm embarrassed now. So, but I agree with everything you said. So,
oh my God. $10 from Jimmy Snow. Who else will be guesting up for this podcast?
I guess Jimmy.
No, and you know what I love most about this? Jimmy spent $10 of his own money to do that.
Listen, for $10.
For the bit. I love it.
I'm joking about the I guess, Jimmy. You can be on my podcast anytime. Especially if you'll produce it, please. Oh, $5 from Arnd. I'm going to say that wrong. Anyways, if you haven't seen it, there's a musical Finland bit by Monty Python. Brilliant. Yes, and my husband and his uncle sing the Lumberjack song. So,
cute.
Pretty cute.
Also, if you guys see me looking around, it's because Bonnie is being very suspicious and I'm worried that she's going to like poop on the carpet. She's being very suspicious, but it's pouring outside.
$5. Oh, from Trinket the Clown. Promise your hair is killing it tonight. Was nice having you back. Don't forget us. Hashtag Team Lux. Guys, I love Lux. We've never worked together, but the last few episodes Lux has been producing, and I was just saying that I'm going to miss these days, so I'll miss you all as well. But yes, I agree. Hashtag Team Lux.
And thanks for the hair some like early day Saturday something like so it's at the right time for you to join us.
Yes, it would be great.
Okay, I got her. Little suspicious girl. $4.99 from Nicole Kubler. I see the question asked on Avon. If I only had any experience before transitioning, then I'm a virgin in again after okay, so I think what they're asking is based on the question, if they were a virgin before transitioning, are they still a virgin after? You know, girl, I don't know. It's whatever you decide. You like, because it's sort of all made up anyway. So you can say whatever you want to say. It always makes me laugh too when people talk about like people's body count or their number. I'm like, well, literally everyone could just make it up. And also everyone could just make it up and you legitimately wouldn't know the difference. So
I'm going to start saying 900.
Yeah, exactly. My answer is you could be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, great. I love
whatever you
if you
feel.
get new genitals, then it's like fun to think of like, ooh, I get to lose my V card again.
Exactly. That's so fun.
$10 from Mr. Boricua 10. Good show this eve. Also, my headcanon be that people who claim to like licorice are liars and are in on a global scheme. I refuse to accept otherwise. Waves fist. Listen, let's go for it. all of Finland is in on it.
$4.99 from Call Me Jeff. Any tips on how to go from people pleasing and scared to assertive and confident in your own shoes?
Just start doing it. It's a
just
muscle.
start doing it.
Yeah, you just have to exercise. Just do things scared all the time, and it gets easier to do it scared.
Do it scared is the best advice ever. And also do it in like little baby steps. 50% of the time that you would have said no or you would have said yes, say no to the thing. And slowly make that, like increase that. And it's a muscle. You'll get better. Anyway, I have to pee.
Love you all. This was the best.
So bad.
Stay
I love
tuned.
you guys.
Jimmy is up next.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Thank you, Lux, for producing and for Dragon for screening. And our mods in the chat, thank you so much. And holy cow, it is pouring in Los Angeles. You believe that? No. Crazy. Thank you to all of our patrons as well. Go to patreon.com/calltheline, but not until after you watch Jimmy's show. That's happening right now.